I sinned terribly in my past. God took away my son to punish me. I accept. Accusing my son of what he is not, that I cannot accept.
Okay, guys, let us talk about the new Nollywood film currently streaming on Netflix called The Black Book, produced by Mr. Editi Effiong, and he had the likes of RMD, Laoye, Olumide Owuru, Dede, Sam Dede, Shafi Bello, and a good number of great actors in this film. So going into the film, I didn't even know what to expect, to be honest, because I think for some months now, or almost a year, or if not more than a year, I've stopped watching trailers of movies, especially in Hollywood, except if I mistakenly come across it on social media, on Instagram. And sometimes, if I really do not want to see the trailer, I just keep scrolling. Cause I feel I've realized that going into a movie without seeing the trailer, it just helps me better manage my expectations. And so I don't get too pissed, I don't get too excited, I don't get too expectant, I don't get underfed or underwhelmed. Yeah, I think I enjoy watching movies that way now. So yeah, I didn't know what to expect with the Black Book. So I just, with the clips and images I saw on social media during the marketing phase of the movie, I just knew we were going to see RMD and Laoye. That was pretty much all I knew about the film, and that it was going to be on Netflix. So the synopsis of this film was centered around a man who was seeking revenge for the death of his son who was innocently killed following the kidnap of a professor's infant and her husband. So the man's character was played by RMD, whose character name was called Polo Edima, and his son who was killed, the character was played by Olumide Owuru, and his character name was Damilola Edima. When this professor's husband and a baby, when they were kidnapped, of course, when there's a kidnap, there's a criminal on the run. When they know what he looks like, that's what makes round. The radio presenter kept going on and on about the fact that criminal on the run has a dread, is tall. They gave the description that unfortunately fits the description of Damilola Etima, that's Polo's son. Description of the criminal kept coming up on and on. So, when Damilola was in the car, he was heading to church to join his father, and that same statement was what they were hearing on the radio. I was just like, shit, I think I know what's about to happen. And just as anybody watching the movie would expect, because it did fit the description of the criminal on the run, they harassed him, got into an argument, it got really intense, and they ended up shooting him, they ended up killing him. And normally it would feel like, oh, it could have been a thing of coincidence, but it felt like it was all planned. They just needed somebody to fit the description of the criminal that was on the run, so it could feel like that was done and over with. That's a case that has been settled. But meanwhile, they were trying to cover the identity of the actual criminal. But unfortunately for them, Jamilola Edima, who was killed, happened to be the son of Polo, who we later found out that he used to be a badass assassin in the past, but retired 24 years ago due to one or two incidents. That was where the story started connecting itself, introducing more characters into the story. At some point, Shafi Bello's character was introduced as Big Daddy. At some point, we got Denolag's Grace character. At some point as well, Adelaoye's character came into the picture as Victoria, and this is the second time I'm seeing Adelaoye play the character of a journalist by the title of the film where she played a journalist as well, but the name keeps coming to my head, but at the same time I feel like I'm wrong. But yeah, I enjoyed her playing. I think it was in this movie with Bimba Demoye and I don't know, I can't remember. It was a traditional movie. It's coming to end and it's going, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I'm wrong, but I could be right. So this is the second time I'm seeing her play the role of a journalist, and I thoroughly enjoyed her in that movie. So when I saw her in here, I just clicked with her character easily. I just was more interested in her character even more because of how I saw her perform in the other movie. And I think it's safe to say that she delivered 100% alongside RMD. I felt the emotions, this story and the way it's built up, it pulls at your heartstrings. Things I liked about the movie. I have to say that there were a good number of top Nollywood actors in this film. Sam Dede, Shafi Bello, Ikechuku, Olumide, Owuru, Laoye, Denolagre, RMD, Bimbo Akintola. I even saw a lot of faces that I've not seen in movies in a while. And I was just like, oh wow, this person is here. That's really cool. It was really good. I loved how he pulls at your heartstrings. When we saw Damilola die and his body got taken away, it felt like I was watching the reality of Nigeria. But mind you, the movie didn't feel like Nollywood, and that's because of the quality, even the color grading, the cinematography, the sets, the shots. It didn't feel like Nollywood in a way, but the fact that we're watching Nigeria's reality again was just like, oh my god. And I felt different type of emotions. Mostly during the first act of the film, I was angry. I was sad at some points. I felt rage of Damilola. I was thinking about different stories we've heard in the media, and watching Damilola's father go through the process of trying to retrieve the body of his son who was innocently killed, and seeing him go through that mental breakdown, the way he was even working, the dark streets, the ambience in different scenes just added a lot more spice to the story and the emotion overall. Even the soundtrack was very good in my own opinion. And looking at what he went through to even try to get the body of his son, like the basic attitude of the policeman, he was giving, let me slap this man and break his head right now, because what the hell is all this nonsense they are doing right now? And it just showed that is the actual behavior. That is how they behave. If you're a person, or if you're a nobody, if you're irrelevant to them, if there's no one or guy at the top calling them and threatening them over the phone, they will treat you like complete trash, forgetting that you're also a civilian like themselves, and they can be treated like that once they get out of that uniform. Do you understand? Like, I was just like, this is so the reality. This is really the reality of Nigerians. Like, Damilola could have been anybody on the streets just because he had locks. He was even trying to show them his ID card. They threw it away. They were not willing to listen. Like, their minds were made up. There was a plan. Just the instrument that they used to seal up their plans. I don't know if this sounds weird to say, but I loved Adelaoye's wears. I loved her wardrobe. It wasn't flamboyant. It wasn't big. It wasn't expensive. It was just a random. It was just random, easy, simple, basic outfits that she wore, and I feel like that added to her character more. Just made her look more like a random, basic, hardworking journalist out there that wants an advancement in her career. I don't know if someone else felt that way, but I couldn't help but notice that with her wardrobe. So this movie raised some thought-provoking social issues. It gives you an insight into how the corruption in the society has eaten deep into the system. I also loved the attention to details, especially when they went back in time, the 1990s. I loved how they paid attention to details as well. It looked like the time they were trying to depict, and I really appreciated that. So on to the things I did not like or about the film, or just kind of put me in the wrong place about this film. I just felt like this story had so many layers. This story had so many layers. It felt like an octopus. It was connected to so many places. They were trying to do so many things at the same time, which made it very overwhelming for me as a viewer. I felt if I had seen this movie at the cinemas and I didn't have of course I would not have the opportunity to take the movie back, to rewind the movie. I would not even to be able to tell another person about this movie. I would find it very difficult. This I'll just be able to tell them is that they killed one's man's innocent child, and they did not know that the father self Nawere. They went to look for trouble. That's all I would be able to tell the person. I would not be able to go in depth and give like a proper explanation of the movie. So there was just a lot going on. And I feel like that happened because the story itself, like the initial plot, it's not something we've not seen before. We have seen so many movies on, people being killed to cover up a powerful person's, tracks, and the whole thing falling apart, the victim going after justice, going for revenge and all that. So I feel like all the extra spices, all the branching we're doing, all the few stops we're making all through this film, it was just a means for the movie not to look too cliche or for the story itself not to look too cliche. I think that was why it felt that way. But there's just a lot going on. Even the pacing of the film was too fast for me. At some point, I felt lost. I had to go back a few times to go and refresh my brain, or go and make sure that what I saw there was actually what I saw, which I feel like a lot of people would have issues with as well. And also coming down to Paulo's character, at the beginning, I did mention in my review of what I liked that he pulls at the heartstrings of the viewers, which I still stand by. But when it gets to the second act, when you realize that Paulo has also been a bad man, he has taken so many lives before in the past, he has a big record, a robust record of being an assassin. Our connection starts to drop, especially for me. It dropped for me. I didn't feel sad for him. I wasn't even rooting for him to, get rid of the bad guys, if you get what I mean. Because I was just like, you've done it to other people. This is karma, if it's real. Coming back to bite your ass. I just felt that the son had to die. But it's sad that children would pay for the depth of their parents. It is just sad. But yeah, so I lost every emotional connection with Paulo's character. I think I started feeling sorry for Vic. At some point, self, I was not feeling sorry for her, because I was just like, baby, they have told you to let this and let's go. But it seems like you want to collect Journalist of the Year in your grave, and it looks like you will get it. So even at some point, I wasn't even feeling scared for her. I was even feeling annoyed and just angry at her, and telling her to just get out of the dangerous situation she was putting herself in. Thirdly, Denola's Grace character, he was introduced as this bad guy, almost someone like Paulo, who they've trained to silence people, take people's lives, smooth shooter, never misses, always on point, slow tiger, all of those title and all of those things. After hyping up his character, hyping up his man so much, his kind of person so much, it was crazy and ridiculous to see how he was killed. Just like that. In fact, I had to take it back to make sure that it was Dinola Gray that he killed. I was just like, it was Dinola Gray's character that was killed, because I was just like that. No fights, no rustle, no battle, no wrestle, nothing, just splash like that. Oh, come on. But then I don't know. It would have been better if his character was not even killed. If his character just got missing in the mix. I don't know, but I just felt like that was such a lame way to take his character out. Overall, I did enjoy what they were trying to do, or I did appreciate what they were trying to do with the movie The Black Book. And I mean, from my own end, I think I'm going to rate the movie 7.5. 7.5. I think I'm just going to rate the movie 8 over 10. 8 because acting was top notch. The performances were really good. I loved the attention to details. I loved the lineups, the actors we had in this film. Um, I liked that the story of, the twists and turns were not some of the twists and turns were not expected, like Paulo being a previous bad guy. I didn't expect that. And with Vix, I didn't expect that Paulo was going to be the one that took a mother away. Normally I would have suspected, but I feel like it was well done that I didn't even suspect that Paulo was one that killed the mom. So I appreciated some twists and turns there. I feel like that made up for some of the things I didn't like about this film, which brought my ratings to 8 over 10. What do you think about the movie The Black Book? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Are you on the fence concerning the movie? What would you rate it if you were to rate the movie? Let me know in the comments. If you're a new viewer just watching my video, just sharing my voice, please consider subscribing to the channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. If you're a returning subscriber, I'm glad you came back to watch my video. I'll love to see my next review, but until then, make sure to remain happy, be cautious with yourself. Bye guys.